The biggest battlefield in United Kingdom football will yet again host battle to one of the biggest rivalries in football. It is the Manchester Derby yet again. And this time around, it is no usual game. It is an FA Cup final. The second time in a row, the two are meeting. The blue side of Manchester reigned victors and triumphant in the last episode. This time around, it will be grudge for the struggling Manchester United. An important game for both players and the manager, but most importantly, for the fans who have endured such a painful season. My name is Webb. This is the United Sport official starting 11 prediction, lineup talk, and proper complete analysis of what exactly Man United should do to have a chance against the odds-on favorites, Manchester City. Subscribe, like, and share this video as we get into it. Now, of course, what you look at there is the obvious starting 11. If all the players are fit, like we've been told, Erik Ten Hag confirmed that Harry Maguire won't be there. He won't be ready for the game. He's just now trying to focus on the Euros, trying to make himself fit and available for the Euros. But that doesn't mean the other players we have cannot do it. Well, we do have a near full house with Rafael Varane returning. Victor Lindelof is there to back him up in case Varane is not 100% fit. Johnny Evans is in there. His experience certainly comes in handy. So Erik Ten Hag has got options, of course, to add on Lisandro Martinez, who returned already. Ten Hag has got options in the central defense where we've had one of the biggest problems, I think, all throughout the season. Now, they return at least for one final dance this season, the most important one, you would say, because this is a title game against a big rival of ours who has been beating us for fun in the last couple of meetings. So there's a lot for us to bank on and say we cannot just make it so easy for them. So it's going to be an interesting, important game there. Now, that's the obvious starting 11, I think, knowing how Erik Ten Hag loves to set up his teams, how he believes in playing his single pivot. That would be the obvious starting 11 with all the fit players we have. Amrabat drops to the bench. Casemiro pushes ahead in the middle. Then the back line, Wan-Bissaka and Dalot, probably Dalot going on the left and Bissaka on the right. Then the central defense of Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane. Then Bruno Fernandes, the captain, obviously, together with Kobe Maino. And up top, and Garnacho on the left, and on the right, Amad Diallo. That is the obvious starting 11. But listen, based on what we saw Erik Ten Hag do in the last game against Brighton, which I say was a warm-up game for Manchester United, that is what I predict will be his starting 11. And honestly, I hope it is, because I think it will be a better starting 11 than the previous. I think for me, if Erik Ten Hag wants to have a chance against this dominant Manchester City, he has got, first of all, deal with one player first. That is Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne is the player that causes the damage for Manchester City. Why? Because him, and of course Kyle Walker with his runs on the right, him, mostly Kevin De Bruyne, opens up the opponent, and he is always the guy who is creating for Erling Haaland. Now, when Kevin De Bruyne is killed, Erling Haaland is, I think, 40%, 80% killed, because usually it is him who opens up. Even if he doesn't make the direct assist, KDB is the guy who initiates whatever. Most of the things, most of the damage caused by Erling Haaland is initiated by Kevin De Bruyne. So how do you kill him off? Create one free player to just follow him everywhere he goes. That player can either be Amrabat. The thing I don't like about Amrabat is he can get a bit nasty at times, you feel, but well, he has not got a red card, at least not at Man United yet. So maybe we can bank on that and say, yes, you have to be nasty, because in such a game, I expect the referees to be at a level. If they expect a physical battle, it's a derby, it's a final, it's the last game of the season. We don't want soft calls. We expect it to be a man going to be extremely physical. So put in a physical Amrabat in there. And whereas he did not have a very good last game against Brighton, I think for me, he has earned himself the right to start against Man City. And that doesn't mean Casemiro should be dropped. For me, my thinking is if there's one player who will go to rest in this particular game, it is Alejandro Garnacho, because we don't need a lot of his width. Yes, whereas on one side you can look at it and say that Garnacho being there will keep Manchester City busy and making runs up top and trying to, cause threats up top. Well, it's one way to think about it, but I think if you focus on the bigger picture, the collective, because then that would mean we are giving him a bigger job of staying there to try and keep them, in the at bay. by making those constant runs we know he can make. But how much of time on the ball are we going to have? I think the first strategy Man United needs is to deal with covering the gaps, the pinholes, because there is no way Man United is going to dominate possession against Manchester City. We need Garnacho if we are going to dominate possession. I don't think he gives us a lot. Yeah, he can give us some bit of value on the counter, but the reality is lately he has been off. So with a boy like Amadi who is on fire, left-footed, meaning he's a different dimension, you start him ahead, kill off one wing, and based on how Erik Ten Hag played against Brighton, the 4-2-2-2, I think, formation that he played, I think he can keep the 2-2 and then have one, so make it like a 4-1-2-2-1, something like that. If you look at how I've assembled them there. So this one here, Amrabat, is shifting the back line because of his discipline, and this can also be Casemiro. Any of the two, I think any of the two can play that part, every well. But the whole point for me is on then ahead of the number 6, the sitting number 6. Kobe on the left, have a number 8, Casemiro on the right. Now let this Casemiro or that number 8 be the free one who is tracking Kevin De Bruyne, because Amrabat, his job is to shield the entire team, shield the back line. But then let it either be Casemiro or Amrabat, one of the two. The second number 8 is moving around with Kevin De Bruyne wherever he goes and trying to frustrate him out of the game. Now, in the meantime, Amrabat is doing the general work of now trying to tame the Bernardo Silvas and all the other guys like his number 6 is supposed to do. Now that way, we've sacrificed, but it's a worthy sacrifice because we need to do it. Because remember, we already have Phil Foden's players like Phil Foden's to worry about. But so if we kill off Amrabat and have another holding midfielder doing the holding midfield role, but not leaving the holding midfielder to have to deal with Kevin De Bruyne and everyone else, I think that would give us a chance. So if that is done, that's why I would have both Amrabat and Casemiro start that game. Then play Kobe, because Kobe, I think there's no doubt. I don't even need to explain why Kobe has to play, because he gives you a lot going forward, especially he can pull off an unexpected pass or goal. He's a threat. In fact, if anything, for me, he should be the player to watch for Manchester City in this particular game. He will show up, and trust you me, he might bury them. Then, of course, Bruno Fernandes up front, because we know that Bruno will track back and try to assist then, because we do know the work we are going to do is going to be mostly in our half. Bruno gives us a lot in our half. Kobe will give us a lot in our half. So even Kobe is expected to be a little more disciplined, committing, whereas Erik Ten Hag wants to be pragmatic. You don't go all out against Man City, and no one can blame you for playing a conservative approach against Man City, the best possessing team in perhaps English football. So if that happens, we are giving ourselves a chance, because at least with all these players, with that compact midfield, there are chances of us winning that ball. And when we win that ball, we should be able to initiate a counter, and that's where the transition abilities of both Kobe Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes come in, together with, of course, Amad Diallo, who has got the pace we know, but also has got the firmness and ball work to be able to make a good counter attack. So then Højlund has got to be disciplined. Let Højlund spend more time in Man City's half, because if he stays there because of who he is, the personality, his profile, they know what he is, they will also be limited in terms of how much they come at us. But if Højlund is also now playing defensive, then they are all going to come at us, and we are going to invite more pressure on us. Keeping Højlund there is for them to be worried, because they know there is a dangerous striker staying in our half. If we commit a lot, we will cause trouble. And I actually saw, I think it was the first, I think it was still Man United, Man City. I saw Thierry Henry trying to explain how he would move, the movements he would make in that game. The problem we had is all our players. By the way, we tried to contain them, but the problem we had is all our players were committed in our half. All our players were committed, all of them, including the strikers. So, meaning they are saying, okay, let's bring it on. You're all here. You've subdued to our authority. What you do, you've got to leave a sharp striker up top to worry them that if we get a chance at this, we win the ball, which we definitely will at some point. Win the ball once, there is a threatening striker there, play one long direct pass, and let's see what comes of it. That's the only chance we have. So Amad, yes, can contribute to the support, but I think most of that supporting work defensively should be on Bruno, Kobe, Casemiro, and Amrabat, and of course the experienced centre backs. Then Ahmad can come in a bit, drop in, but with his mind knowing that I've got to be ready to initiate a run, Hoyland should not even step in our half. Should be up there to just keep them at bay. That as they come at us, they attack. They have at the back of their minds, they know there is Hoyland back in the back, and one single mistake like that he will punish us. That will limit how much they come at us. And if they do that, we'll grow into the game. We'll have a chance now to try and play them. For me, that is how I believe Erik Ten Hag needs to plan for this game. The worst scenario for me, and this is where I'll just give up. If Erik Ten Hag comes with his usual, because we know he trusts his formation, he doesn't want to tamper with his style that he trusts so much. If he comes back with the same single pivot, plays Casemiro or Amrabat or whoever, then Bruno and Kobe, then his beloved Garnacho and maybe Ahmad, or can even put Anthony if he wants, then Hoyland up top because he loves his Anthony, then we are done. I think we shall be done before the game starts. That will be a recipe for disaster. So for me, my starting 11 would be Onana, Lisandro Martinez, Varane, then Bissaka. Maybe Bissaka on the right. You can change that. I think put Bissaka on the right and Dalot on the left. Then Amrabat or Casemiro. It can be any of the two. It doesn't matter. It can even probably be Casemiro who sits. Then Amrabat is a free. Amrabat is the second number 8. Kobe is here ahead of him. Ahmad ahead of him. Ahead of him Bruno. Ahead of Kobe Bruno. Ahead of Casemiro Ahmad. Then Hoyland in the middle up top. So Hoyland is in the same line as Amrabat. Yeah. Then these two are forming a square in the middle. So yeah, that's like a 4-1-2-2-1, something like that. Break it down. That's how you try to manage a team, a dominant team like Manchester City. Don't try to come and show the world that we can match them. We will be obliterated. Honestly, this one should be a game of tactics. My name is Webb. This is the United Hot Sport. Let me know what you think and what your prediction of the game is.